Marcus Hale was a human officer serving in the Orion Arm. Humanity had grown in power in recent years, joining the Great Interstellar Council and proving that humans were not weak newcomers. Many older species had taken centuries to build fleets and colonies, but humans had done it in less than 100 years. They learned fast, built fast, and fought with determination that other species found strange and impressive. Marcus was one of the officers chosen to represent humanity in diplomatic missions. He had worked with several alien nations, but this new assignment was different. He had been chosen to escort Princess Arya of the Velnaran Empire during her diplomatic tour. Princess Arya was the only heir of one of the oldest ruling families in the galaxy. The Velnaran Empire was powerful, ancient, and respected by nearly every nation in known space. Their civilization was thousands of years older than humanity, and their technology and culture had shaped the galactic community long before humans even left their home world. For a human officer to be selected as escort to their princess was a great honor. Many humans celebrated the decision as proof that humanity had gained trust on the grand stage of the galaxy. Marcus, however, did not think about fame or public celebration. He only cared about doing his duty. His uniform was always neat, his orders always followed, and his focus never lost. Humans had a reputation for pushing themselves hard, and Marcus was a good example of that. When he received the assignment, he reviewed all files, threat assessments, star charts, historical information, and diplomatic background of the tour. He wanted no surprises. He understood how important Princess Arya was to the Empire. A single failure could damage the trust humanity had earned. The tour began smoothly. Marcus and a small joint escort team traveled with Princess Arya to several frontier systems where the Empire wanted to strengthen relationships and open discussions with new colonies. Arya was polite, intelligent, and respectful. She carried herself with calm confidence, but Marcus noticed she also had a curious nature. She asked him many questions about humanity, about Earth, about what humans valued. Marcus answered directly, as he always did. He did not speak with flowery language. He told her that humanity valued growth, survival, cooperation, and the belief that even impossible situations could be overcome through effort and determination. Arya found humans fascinating. She had read reports and official documents, but speaking with a human officer was different. Marcus had a certain presence. He did not try to impress her. He simply worked with a clear mind and sense of responsibility. She could see that he believed in his duty without needing praise. The journey continued without trouble until the fleet entered the Karan cluster, a region near the border of a rival state. The Velnaran Empire had long-standing disputes with this rival empire, and tensions had increased in recent years. When Princess Arya traveled through this sector, she knew there was always a chance of political risk, but she trusted the escort fleet. The ships were well armed, and both human and Velnaran officers controlled the stations with discipline. Marcus stood on the bridge of the escort cruiser Vanguard when the sensors detected unknown ships closing in. The warning lights flashed across the command consoles, and the communications officers reported that enemy vessels had approached without broadcasting identification codes. Marcus immediately requested a defensive formation, but before the fleet could react, the enemy ships opened fire. The attack was sudden and powerful. Energy blasts cut through the outer defense ships, and one of the escort vessels exploded in a bright flash. The bridge shook as the Vanguard absorbed the shock of a near hit. Officers shouted reports as shields dropped and systems flickered. Marcus took command of the situation. Even though Velnarans outranked him officially, their officers hesitated for a moment in the confusion. And Marcus's voice cut through the noise with calm precision. He ordered the fleet to tighten formation and spread power to shields and weapons. He instructed the human tactical officers to reroute secondary power nodes and bring auxiliary weapons online. Velnaran officers quickly followed his lead when they saw he had a clear plan. Marcus knew that in a sudden attack, hesitation was deadly. He did not wait for full agreement or committee approval. He acted. Enemy ships targeted Princess Arya's flagship directly. Marcus realized their goal immediately. They were not launching a random assault. They wanted the princess captured or killed. Marcus ordered an emergency transfer. The nearest escort ship, a smaller vessel named Defender, had damage, but still had functioning engines and shields. He directed Princess Arya and her immediate staff to board Defender at once. Arya looked at him with surprise when he told her to move. Her voice was calm but firm, and she asked him if he intended to remain aboard Vanguard alone. Marcus responded with a short explanation. Someone needed to hold the line and buy time. He was the ranking officer able to do so. Arya hesitated, but saw in his eyes that he had already made his decision. She followed orders, and her guards rushed her toward the hangar. While Arya transferred, Marcus coordinated the fleet with speed and precision. He ordered decoy maneuvers, activated false sensor signals, and shifted weapon targets to confuse the attackers. The enemy ships expected the Velnaran fleet to fall apart under the sudden attack. Instead, they met coordinated resistance stronger than they had predicted. Marcus watched the tactical display as the enemy closed in. His own cruiser had taken heavy damage. Systems failed, lights dimmed, and smoke filled parts of the bridge. He stood firm. He issued new commands calmly, directing the remaining ships to fold into a new formation and protect the Defender's escape route. By the time Arya's shuttle departed with her aboard, the enemy realized they had lost their primary chance. Marcus informed the Velnaran officers to retreat with the princess. Some protested, wanting to remain and fight, but Marcus reminded them that the mission was to protect the heir. A battle could be fought another day. Failure now would change galactic politics forever. The officers followed his decision and began pulling back. Marcus stayed behind to hold the attention of the enemy fleet. He pushed the damaged Vanguard forward, firing every weapon still working and using aggressive maneuvers to look like a greater threat than he actually was. He knew the risk. The Vanguard might not survive, but he also knew that the princess had to escape. If she fell into enemy hands, the conflict could escalate into full war. Marcus had no intention of allowing that. Minutes passed like hours as the Vanguard faced overwhelming fire. The hull shook repeatedly, sparks burst from control panels, and the lights flickered until only emergency lamps glowed. Several consoles burned out. Officers struggled to keep systems running. Marcus ordered non-essential crew to evacuate to escape pods. He remained at the tactical station with a small team, still calculating firing arcs and power allocations. Every second the Vanguard stayed operational meant the Defender gained more time. Finally, reinforcements arrived. A Velnaran strike group burst out of hyperspace and began firing at the enemy fleet. The attackers were forced to withdraw. With the arrival of reinforcements, Marcus finally allowed himself to relax for a moment. The Vanguard was barely holding together, and he was wounded from a console explosion, but he did not lose consciousness. The last thing he remembered was medics rushing onto the bridge before everything turned blurry. When he woke in a medical bay, Princess Arya was sitting beside him. She was safe, and her calm presence told him the danger had passed. She thanked him personally. She had seen how he fought and how humans refused to surrender even when the situation seemed hopeless. She told him that he had not only saved her life, but he had shown her the true nature of humanity. Marcus simply replied that he had only done his duty. But outside the sealed medical room, the story was already spreading. News of a human officer saving the princess of one of the oldest empires in the galaxy was already moving through diplomatic networks, media channels, and military communication lines. Humans gained new respect. Marcus did not think of fame when he stood against overwhelming odds, but now the entire galaxy was starting to look at him, and his species, with new eyes. He believed the incident was over. He did not yet know that the rescue would change the future of two civilizations. Marcus Hale recovered in a medical room aboard a Velnaran